Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to the start of another weekly reading vlog. Today is a gloomy day, which is not good. Last weekend the weather was really nice and also it is the Eurovision. Did you guys watch it as well? Because it is like a celebration of basically everything. And it is a very big song competition that is set in the Europe, but you don't have to necessarily be a European country to participate in it. I had some good food and drinks when I was watching it, so it is kind of a special Saturday. In the last vlog, I said that I will finish Dragon Rider by the weekend, and I am happy to say that I have indeed finished it over the weekend. Honestly, I have such a great time reading this one because this reminds me so much of a classic fantasy tropes. Since what I called unofficially the third part of the story, which is meeting an ally. We learn so much more about the magic system in this world. How many levels are there gonna be? How to reach another level and what you can do with that level of power. But our main characters got into trouble and this marks the start of an unofficial part 4, the imprisonment. Jay and his companion was captured and imprisoned, and in there he met a group of familiar characters that is from the beginning of the book. Then Jay had to focus and think of a way to escape on his own, and the only way is to ascend, which is to reach another level of his power. At last we come to the final confrontation, the final part of the story. Before that we're gonna know the past of our ally, Rufus, and also there will be a twist about our companion. I just wish this part could be filled up with a little bit, just a little bit more of actions to make it more exciting or make it more dangerous. With how this story ends, there's gonna be a second book about it. Like I said in the last vlog, this book does follow a pattern of a classic fantasy. But I do still enjoy reading this book because of how the story unfolds. Even though this book is on a lengthy, longer side, you don't find it too difficult to go through the story because of its accessible writing. I also like how most of the details are actually connected in the story. For example, the past of Jay and Rufus. I think this book is just the beginning of a saga, so there is not too much character development in terms of Jay. The middle part of the story may be on the lengthy side to some people, but it explains the magic system in this world with mana, so bonding with an animal, and also the politics among these states, these kingdoms, these empires. This part is actually useful to explain what's gonna happen in the second half later in the story. Seeing how this story concludes in the first book, we're gonna know which direction Jay is going for in the next book. I wouldn't say it is a super groundbreaking take on classic fantasy, but still it is a very solid start for a saga, so I would definitely keep an eye on the sequels. And after it, yesterday I picked up my next read, The Light of All That Falls by James Islington, the last book of the Narnia's trilogy. I have just read 80-ish pages, so I'm still figuring out what is actually going on. The summary in the beginning is actually very useful because it sums up essentially what's happened in the last two books in a chronological order. When I read the last two books, I sometimes may not be able to say that this event happened in this particular time and what is like the causal relationship with all these events. So the summary is actually very useful. So all I know about this book so far is it takes place 1 year later after the second book. So things have changed slightly and we're gonna see the consequences of the actions in the last book. Today I have to prepare for the Poppy Wall references video. It's gonna take some time because there are actually quite a lot of research to do. So I may not have too much time for reading today. By the way, that video should be up already and I hope you guys will enjoy it because it is literally blood, sweat and tear. It's a lot of research and I want to include as much information as I can just by reading the first book. I will probably see you in the next day after I finish filming and also editing the Poppy Wall references video. So see ya. It is actually the day after I filmed that Poppy Wall video. I was so dumb, I was going to set up a microphone, otherwise you would be just watching me alone speaking without anything else in the background. But it was just too close to me and the audio was so awful. Oh my god, it was an hour of footage that cannot be used and I have to film it again. the biggest nightmare for any content creator. So yesterday with the extra filming and also editing, I didn't have much time for reading. And today I have reached the 200-page mark of The Light That All That Falls by James Islington. To be very honest, I am a little bit struggling. First of all, this book is really thick, really dense, really long, whatever adjectives you can put in. It is over 800 pages long, which is a lot to read. And it is the third book on my May's TBR, and you know what? We are already halfway through May, and I am only a quarter into this book. I feel like I am already running out of time for this month's TBR, and I have a feeling that I'm gonna fail again. Secondly, I don't know why, I'm just not too interested in this book. We are a year after the event by the end of the second book, but what I would expect is we're gonna be right back to it, or we're gonna set up for the final confrontation because it is also the final book of the trilogy. I'm not saying this book is not delivering it. Let me put it down first because it is heavy. By calculation, I am 200 pages in and we are still following the 4 POVs, which means that on average, there are 50 pages for each POV. So to be fair, there won't be a lot going on with each one of them. Whereas we're gonna see what's the politics be like after a year, what struggles, what dangers are they going to face, and also the revelation of the secrets of his father with another ogre. Asha needs to face a really strong opponent. Thanks, Bike. Asha had to face a really strong opponent, one of the Venerates. Caden, you know what, back and forth from his memories. What I still don't get it yet is Davian's perspective. At this point, I'm not sure how his POV gonna play out, how we gonna connect to the bigger picture to other POVs, and honestly, why Davian has to go through a lot of troubles again. Even though the writing in this book is still really accessible, I just wish that sometimes we could get to the point a little bit faster, trim out a little bit of the extras, that's what I would say. Because we are following 4 POVs, which is quite a lot, and sometimes one POV will be giving information for another character. So you can already imagine there is quite a lot of details going on with each POV, let alone all the things that had happened in the last 2 books as well. To be very honest, I don't see myself finishing this book by the end of the vlog because once again, look how thick it is. I'm only a quarter in it. But of course, I will try to read as much as I can in this vlog because I'm gonna have time to read today and also tomorrow. So we shall see. Because this book is too thick for me to hold, so I guess it is the time for a Kindle. I'll read the rest of the book on my Kindle, so let's go. Hi guys, it is the next day. How are you all doing? First of all, I went to Gosper today because I have to pick up a pre-order, which is the Silver Blood Promise by James Logan. It is not a special edition, but it is signed. When the Broken Binding announced that they're gonna do a special edition of this book, I was actually debating should I get that one. That book was really beautiful, really stunning. The spray edge is so special. It is probably the best I have ever seen ever. And at last, I got this edition from Gosper because of the price. Not long ago, I'm talking about maybe 5 months ago, when you order any special edition from the TPB, the price is usually around 22 to 25 pounds. I'm not talking about that really special press edition ones. Those are too special and the price is always high. But I'm just talking those with, spray edge, signed and number. They're usually 20-ish pound. But now I've noticed that there is quite a significant increase in their price. When you look up on their website, now all the special editions is at least 27 pound or even can go up to 30 pound. Let's say what is it called? The Grace of Kings series, the Danian Dynasty, right? The Midnight Edition is £120 for 4 books, which means that on average they are £30 each. I just can't justify myself to get so many special editions from them because if you include the postage, it can easily go over £30. £30 for a book, let alone all the subscriptions I have. Currently, I have the Gospel Fantasy subscription. I know it is not. And also the Broken Binding Sci-Fi subscription. Gospel, because I do a pickup only for delivery, so it is around £25. But with the TBB Sci-Fi, it is £31. So in a month, I need to spend at least £50 on books already. So I have to get this edition from Gospel, which is still good, It is signed. It is the first edition. I'm a subscriber of their GSFF, so I receive a 15% off discount. At last, this book is roughly £18, which is not too bad at all. Given that we have the same cover, we have the same signature, but just not the spray edge. But overall, it is still the same material to read. Today, I was going to read by the sea because yesterday the weather was so lovely, so sunny, so beautiful. So I think, why not go to read by the sea? It will be such a nice footage for this vlog. I am so wrong. Today, it was pissing down. It was so wet outside. So I have to come home, sit down, have a coffee and read, but not outside. Today, the weather is so terrible. After switching to my Kindle to read The Light That All That Falls, my progress is significantly faster. I am already 42% into the story, and I am so happy to see that finally some details are coming together. After knowing Caden's true identity, Asha has to work with him, but she has to be free from her duty first so she can save the world. Burr and Terrace were investigating what is going on, but it is also about Caden. Davian was thrown into somewhere unknown alone, working with a group of people who were also coming from different time period. They have to gather metals and then they can sell it for rationing. With a companion, he has found out those monsters is actually doing. It is also about, who? Caden. Now I can say that I start to enjoy reading the last book of this series because everything is coming together, everything is set in motion. Again, I know that I can't complete this book by the end of this vlog because I still got 58% to read. I will see how far I can go and I will see you in the final update. See ya! So here comes to the last day of this reading vlog. One thing I forgot to mention is that I have actually finished the audiobook for The Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas, the third book of the Throne of Glass series. I started the audiobook in early April, I believe, and then I went for a holiday for a week, which I didn't listen to it at all. But you know what? I lost track of the record, so I have to start it in somewhere in the middle of the audiobook. So actually, I didn't have the best experience when I was listening to it, and I may have mixed up some of the details. I think this book starts really slow. Selena had to learn the magic of the Fae with a new character, Rowan. After sending Selena away, Chaos has to deal with the politics, working with the rebels and try to stop what the king is actually doing after discovering what he was planning beneath everyone's eyes. Dorian got a romantic encounter, and there is also a new POV about the witch, because in the last book Selena killed the character called Baba Yellowleg, I believe. I found this book really slow in terms of the pacing, and in the first half of the book there is not too much going on. Probably more is to add to the layer to the plot. I think Selena is still the main protagonist in the story, and it takes off when the trust was built between her and Rowan. I love that she has to confront her past, her fear, and then at last comes with a really savage moment with all the threats from outside. I was also shocked by how Chaos, Dorian, and Aiden's perspective was concluded by the end of the story. In terms of the romance, there is actually not too much in it other than the Dorian's one, which was something that I was enjoying in the last book, The Crown of Midnight. Selena and Rowan more like a brotherhood vibe, trying to go through these difficulties together. Overall, I think it is still better than the first book, but not as great as the second one. For The Light of All That Falls, I am currently 55% in, which is a good news to me. It is impossible to finish this book in this vlog because I still got 45% of it left. Like I said earlier, I am enjoying this book more from now on because every pieces are coming together, finally. Asher was up for a fight after Caden's departure. Davian's perspective is making sense now. It ties some of the details in the first book. Why did they have to do these labor works to collect all the metals, and where are the rationing coming from? And also, who are these labors coming from different time period? There are also some background information about those side characters, what they have done in the past. Otherwise, we won't be able to know. I just wish this perspective, this storyline can be a bit faster. What he has gone through here, firstly, we have something more about El, the god, from another side character. I believe his name is Rayleigh. They went deep for discussion about philosophy, morals. But at the same time, they have to collect all these metals to do these labor works for rationing to make a living. There are so much information about these monsters, what the landscape be like in this place, begin with Z that I don't know how to pronounce. There are just so much more extra information that is not significantly related to the plot itself. Thinking like this, Davian's perspective is like a toothman, kind of trying to avoid being info dumpy by creating another storyline that could potentially ties up to other details in the first two books, but it also creates some other extra information. There's not too much going on with Caden's perspective since he left Asher alone, but the perspective that I am enjoying now is worse. Now the danger is coming, we'll try to save as much people as possible. He got this really powerful tool called the Oath Stone, which could command people to follow his order. So when he is aware there's a danger coming, he could just simply say, follow my order now, we should act. But he's always like this heroing figure. He is morally positive and he has to follow the rules in his heart. He would try to do as much as he can to try to save people, especially he is now the North Warden. But now he was thrown into this pressure cooker and he has to learn to let go, which makes his perspective really interesting, really entertaining to read. Compared to Davian's philosophy discussion with his side character, this is much more entertaining. I still got quite a lot to go through, 45% of it. I will try to read over the weekend, but I don't think I can finish it. So I probably will continue on this one in the next reading vlog, and I can give you the final thoughts for this whole series. Now I have to edit this vlog, so if you have enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a like. If you don't want to miss any content from me, make sure you have subscribed to my channel. I will see you real soon. Goodbye.